I think the idea of an app would be quite good, as I'd be able to go in with like a criteria, and then I could work together with the consultant to discuss on what I wanted to improve, as well as what they had to say as well.
If you could write down what you want to ask and what you want to get from it, so that you could sort of tick it off whilst you're there, sort of like a checklist, and then at the end of the meeting you could look at it, and if anything wasn't ticked you could think, right, I haven't brought that up or we haven't discussed that yet, that needs to be sorted.
Something that you could take all the information that you need in the appointment and sort of combine it all, so your insulin, carbohydrates, health, any other things. And normally it's just sort of little things that you think about and just forget, so something you could put all this together with.
I think something mobile, so I think an app would be more useful because I would always have it with me, and if I suddenly thought of something when I was out on the train or something like that, I could write it down there instead of trying to remember it when I get home.
Perhaps something where I could note down what I wanted to discuss, maybe different headings of, say, to do with my insulin, or maybe food, social issues, where I could like change them and add to it maybe.
Say you've got a list of blood glucose where you didn't understand why, but you've got the insulin you did, any sort of other notes like exercise if you were ill or something, if you could have that and maybe pull that out somehow and sort of show that to your consultant, I think that would help as well.
I think something which involves a list but is more than just writing things down, because that doesn't really need to be an app, that can just be written down. If it was sort of interactive, so maybe like a mind map, and you could cross things off once they've been discussed, you could write follow-ups, and then you could write notes that say the doctor could then take it off you. If it was on like an iPad, he could then, or she could write whatever you needed to be doing and write targets and goals, just so that you then didn't have to remember it once you left, it was with you for your next appointment.
I think they'll be the best people because they're really the only people who understand what we're going through and how diabetes affects us.
I think something like that, it really needs to be relevant and sort of personal. I mean, even if an older person with diabetes designed it, then it might not have the same sort of even wording and ideas that young people might have about diabetes. And if a professional or a doctor designed it, then it might be too sort of by the book and people might not be able to relate to it. So I think it's got to be sort of user friendly, and the best way to do that is to have the user design it.
Try and keep it simple, don't sort of overload it, because that's when it'll get frustrating. Just keep it simple to, you know, certain things you want, but it needs to work well, because I think if it doesn't work well and sort of fluid, it's just going to be more of a hassle and just not going to bother with it at all. So I think it needs to be sort of quite simple and just do those sort of things it's designed to do properly, rather than try and do too much.
Keep it simple, lots of sort of colours, and keep it interesting, because the last thing people want is something that looks too medical and clinical. They just want something which almost doesn't remind them that they're diabetic. It's just another app that anyone could have, and it just makes things easier. It shouldn't make it harder.